Good morning. My name is Ron Morris. This is Moving Forward TV, your local real estate and mortgage update.
And I am Dylan Gaston. Thanks for joining us today.
After our last week's show about closings and how to get the loan to the closing table, we had a lot of questions come up about a lot of the new rules and regulations, and we want to clarify some of those today.
In particular, we've been getting questions about compliance
QC
or quality control. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac just recently, this is their article.
12-1, this is brand spanking new.
Yes, I had to blow it up so I can see it, but Fannie and Freddie have just come out with new guidelines, new rules and regulations that started December 1st, as Ron said. Pre-closing and post-closing quality control procedures that are required to be put in place by all lenders, I might add.
And we're not going to bore everybody with the post-closing side of things. We're really interested in the pre-closing because we want to get it to the closing table, of course.
Yeah, our compliance people aren't listening to that part. But no, in particular, the pre-closing stuff, the stuff that you guys can help us with, that we have to, and just so that you know, some of the new layers we were talking about last week that get put into place. This is completely independent, and that's what it says in here, that it has to be completely independent of the origination side, which is our side when we take
underwriting and origination.
And separate from underwriting, a brand new side. And some of the procedures.
A couple of the procedures are timing. There has to be enough time for them to perform the pre-closing audit or QC. Number two, if there's any deficiencies, there needs to be some appropriate corrections to those. So if they find anything that's lacking, they need to be able to fix it. They are more than likely, they are able to either cancel or postpone a closing until those deficiencies are corrected. Please keep that in mind. And last but not least is you need to validate if there's any new product or offerings out there. They have to make sure that those are being
followed as they should.
Right. And what comes to our mind, of course, is the HEART program, which we've talked about before. We'll talk about down the road when some more information comes out. But I guess what I'm trying to say is what normally would take us 25 to 30 days is now going to take us 30 to 45, probably 35 to 45 days. So to help smooth the procedure, we strongly suggest put 45 days on your time frame as far as your contracts are concerned. That way, we'll try to close early, of course, but we're not going back to you with a 30-day escrow saying, need 2 more days, can you get us an extension? And that always presents a lot of headache and heartache and a lot of tension, so trying to avoid that, of course.
Okay, so quality control. What exactly is the quality control department doing once the file gets there? And mind you, this is after the file has been underwritten, after it's been in loan setup, and it's gone through the whole underwriting process. We have appraisal. Everything is all done.
We actually already have the clear to close.
Right.
Then it goes to this.
After our clear to close, it goes to the quality control department. What are they doing? Validation and recertification. They are basically going to go through the entire file, some of the things that they're looking for. When we first do a pre-approval for you guys, when someone's buying a house, we put everything into Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac's system, DU or Loan Prospector. You may not have heard those terms. They're going to validate and make sure that all of the information that we put in there actually matches what came through at the end.
For example, Social Security numbers. They need to make sure that those are matching up with the borrower.
Income documentation and calculations, making sure that everything that we submitted on the pay stubs actually matches. Same
thing with the employment. I actually have a very quick story on that. I actually have a loan that's supposed to close later today. And yesterday, of course, my processor had to do a verbal verification of employment, basically make sure that the guy's still there. Well, she calls Human Resources, and guess what? Nobody's calling her back. She leaves 3 messages for 3 different people. Nobody's calling back. Finally, she reaches out to me and says, Ron, need some help here. I had to get the borrower involved. He calls his corporate office in another state and basically was able to get us a name and a number and somebody who was like sitting by the phone, and we're able to resolve that. Now, if that is going to hold up those docs. So unless that happens or when that happens, the QC department is not going to get it over to closing so they can get those docs to the title company, hence a delay.
You know, and a good point about this is the processor doing her due diligence at the end. If that was a quality control person trying to do it, they wouldn't be calling him to say, give me some help with this.
Right, good point.
You know, they're going to call the Human Resources department, leave a message, and hope somebody calls them back. So again, these are some of the things we need to be on top of and to try and make sure everyone knows. Assets is the next thing they have on here. Required to close meets reserves. Obviously, they're going to double check, make sure that they didn't go out and spend the money the day before closing like
that never happens.
Actually had happened.
Exactly. And also the appraisal. They want to make sure that the appraisal, all the information on that appraisal matches actually in my same file. Apparently it happened to be a PUD. The appraiser forgot to check that box. Another thing that we're trying to get resolved in QC.
At the last minute. Adequate mortgage insurance coverage, whether it's a PMI deal or an FHA deal with mortgage insurance on it, make sure that was calculated correctly.
And also, probably one of the most important parts is the credit. They're going to pull another credit report probably the day before closing to make sure that that borrower hasn't even applied for new credit, much less opened any new credit. And if there's anything new there, it's going to create a delay.
Which means an inquiry on their credit report, and it says that they're going to go back 120 days, 4 months. So if someone has pulled their credit in the last 4 months, you know, they went to Rooms to Go. We tell buyers all the time, don't do that, and you know, it's nice if you guys tell them as well. Even if somebody inquires, it's going to delay.
Correct. Okay, just a quick tip for everybody out there. Fannie and Freddie will be increasing their guarantee fees to the lenders out there.
Which is the fee that Fannie and Freddie charge to the lenders.
And guess who's going to be paying for that? The consumer.
We're going to pass that
So
along.
we actually had an email for one of our lenders that we deal with. It's strongly advising people to start locking their loans because rates will be going up. We don't know how much that's going to go up, but it is going to go up relatively soon.
Right.
So the advice to the realtors out there, if you have any buyers out there that are not locked in, have them get with their mortgage person. I would strongly suggest that they lock it in, or at least talk to their mortgage professional about that.
Lock them if you got them.
Exactly.
Heads up. That's our show this week. Thanks so much for watching. We appreciate you. Forward this on. We're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube.
All that social network stuff.
All of those things. We are Today and Every Day.
Moving forward, we'll see everybody next week.
Bye-bye.